We'll start with the one from Melinda Miller. She says that she wished she could be there, couldn't be here this morning, and she sends her love to all of us. We also received a note from CJ and Ann Moore. It says, "Congratulations on reaching the 125th anniversary. Although we can't attend, we wanted to send our very best wishes. We fondly remember the good times and fellowship with folks at Sabina United Methodist Church. Love, CJ and Ann." And if I read a note and I think you're not here, and it's your note, tell me that you're here, okay? Because Sarah Carter Hoppenstan, okay. She sends a note, "Congratulations to the congregation on 125 years for the church. I have many memories of Sunday school class, youth fellowship, and later a marriage. My mother served as a secretary and helped redesign the kitchen. Blessings to you, Sarah Carter Hoppenstan." And this is from Gladys Fisher. This is 2018. Gladys is 98, and she resides at Carriage Court nursing facility in Washington Courthouse. And she wrote, "Oh, my dear ones, I regret that I am unable to come October 21st to the big celebration. The condition I'm in, I'm better off here. I'm thankful that I'm back on two legs and want to keep it that way. My sister Lucille was 102 the other day." So these are some of Gladys's memories. She remembers the good times that we had at Apples Woods at our annual picnic, the good times we had at circle meetings, the time that we had church services in front of the church, sitting on folding chairs, waiting for the minister to come riding on his horse. Stand Foley. I wish I had that picture here to give you. And then she shares, "Ruth Esther Waddle and I were in charge of getting the basement ready for a big Sunday meal. Well, Ruth Esther wasn't able to come that morning, so it was all up to me. Well, I forgot to put up the folding chairs to the tables." If you ever get a chance, go see Gladys Fisher. It will bless your socks off. And if you take her a cherry pie, it'll bless her socks off. Okay, now speaking of Stan Foley, this is from Stan and Lynn. He said, "The 125th, wasn't the 100th just, oh well, who should count the years? Lynn and I cannot attend the celebration on the 21st. We are traveling. We know that none of you are surprised by that. The request for memories has left us with so many memories that we have to come up for air. We jumbled together a few, and those of you who participated 35 years ago can add a little flesh to them. Your support of us when Andrew came and when Stan's mother died. Paper airplanes in the choir. A magazine one of the youth bought at a newsstand in New York City. I don't know, some of you must know that inside joke. Bishop Loader's relaxed visit. Dance in church. That sounds fun. Labor Day pictures of everyone laboring. Christmas Eve when the furnace couldn't keep up with the cold. The Methodist, Protestant, and Methodist Episcopal history. A picnic at Apples just because it was a pretty day. The Summer of Babies, 1981. Now, who are the mothers of some of those babies? Some of you are mothers of the 1981 babies. Are any of the 1981 babies here? Okay. Doing a circuit rider invitation by riding a horse to church, which is what Gladys was talking about. Confirmation classes, bell choir, so many couples beginning marriage, so many saints traveling home. and so many friends and such easy support. Spending 6 years back home was great fun and comfortable. He says Lynn got to meet my high school friends and learn what a small town is. Until Sabina, she thought Zanesville was a small town. Most of all, we remember the people. Probably most of you don't remember or even knew about, or never knew about, the quilt you gave us at Christmas 1982. It continues to be a treasured remembrance of all the people of Sabina, and it has always been on display in our home, now just inside the front door. It is the fate of pastors to move on and leave the work to others, but it was truly very hard to say goodbye to all of you. Blessings on the 125th. We hope you still have access to the Building Cornerstone message and can participate again in its optimism from 1893. Also have a letter from Vicki Bailey Lindsay. Is Vicki here? Okay. Congratulations to the Sabina United Methodist Church on your 125th birthday. Our family, Farrell, Joyce, Vicki, and Barry Bailey, became members during the late 1950s after we first moved to Sabina. Barry and I were baptized in the church. Throughout the years, we attended church services, Methodist Youth Fellowship meetings, and multiple potluck dinners. One memorable date for me was during 1966. My mother, Joyce, had been killed in an auto accident the previous year. The church was having their annual mother-daughter banquet, which I had always attended with my mother. Mrs. Nellie Foster, who was also a member, volunteered to act as a stand-in for my mother and attend the banquet with me. I left Ohio for college in Kentucky and never returned to Sabina to live. Dad retired from teaching at East Clinton in 1978 and also moved to Kentucky. On a couple of occasions, when we were visiting friends in the Ohio area, we did return to Sabina and attend the Sunday service. It was always good to see old friends at church. And this is from Kay Gordon. She says, I attended Sabina United Methodist Church from birth, which was January 1947, through July 1967. So she attended for 20 and a half years until her mother moved to Dayton, and she says, I became a resident student at Wilmington College. I currently am 71 years old and have lived at Kentwood Terrace Care Center for 12 and a half years, bedbound with arthritis. Hence, I will not be able to attend your festivities on October 21, but I'm happy to know I am still part of your membership. I'm enclosing a few mementos I have had for at least 50 years, and I'm glad to know they will have a resting place. And those are back on the table back there. She has her membership. She sent us her membership certificate and some certificates where she graduated from one Sunday school level to the next. And there's a picture of Reverend, I think it's Wentz. She talks about him in just a minute. She says, while a child and teenager, I was very active in Sunday school and church, sang in the children's choir, taught Bible school, played piano for various activities, and was secretary and president of Methodist Youth Fellowship. My brother, Fred Gordon, received the Boy Scouts God and Country Award working with Dr. F.M. Wentz. That's the picture back there. I remember much activity with Dr. Wentz and Charles Kirsch. You gotta hear this story. My outstanding memory is wanting to be an angel in the Christmas pageant when I was 5, maybe 4. I really loved the white robes and tinsel halos so much. I made it. But one of the shepherds got sick just before the pageant started. So I, being large for my size, was demoted, as I saw it. To last shepherd. Vicky Sparks Snow and Jill Sparks Richard carried on as angels. I was broken-hearted and embarrassed and still feel the humiliation. And then she drew a smiley face. My friend Tom Mitchell, who attends an Episcopalian church in Washington Courthouse, is a longtime resident of Sabina. He sends me the twice-a-month bulletin about Sabina, whose editor is here today, Suzanne Kinney. And she says she always enjoys the article that I write. Many thanks for your inclusion. I hope your celebration is very successful. So, we have an angel among us, folks. Finally, from John King. Do you want me to share this, John? Or did you want to read it? Me?
I've lost my voice.
Okay. So, John is here with his wife, Barb, and these are his memories from 1955 to 1962. I remember my brother Tom and I chasing each other around the church parking lot, trying to squirt packets of Frisch's ketchup on each other. Our Sunday school teacher, Bill Beam, courageously and patiently tried to teach us some principles of the faith. I remember my mom baking chocolate chip cookies for Vacation Bible School, and all those cookies were passed out to other kids before I got even one, and how I cried. Another delightful Sunday school teacher, Mary Sparks, would laugh at our shenanigans and keep on teaching. I loved church because Reverend Charles Kirsch's sermons were always thoughtful and profound. But I especially appreciated the choir and Arnold Apple, who later sang at my dad's funeral, our wedding, and my mom's funeral. For me, the highlight of Christmas Eve candlelight services was a solo performance of O Holy Night, sung from the soul of Irish tenor Ernest Geary, Sabina's fullest. Before my oldest brother graduated from Sabina High School in 1957, he was unsure about colleges, so Reverend Kirsch drove him and a friend to his own alma mater, Ohio University, for a tour. Sabina High School had no counselor, so Reverend Kirsch voluntarily took on that chore, and eventually all 4 Keene boys went to OU. At Methodist Youth Fellowship, Charlie provided some career counseling as well, inviting many professionals like veterinarian Doc Jones to talk with us. When Charlie felt we needed to learn about our bodies and our psychology, he gave us each a copy of Pat Boone's Twixt 12 and 20, which we read and discussed for several weeks. We learned about Judaism from local merchant Max Miller, another MYF speaker. And we learned about life and faith in Africa from 2 Wilberforce theology students. We learned the meaning of ecumenism when during the week before Easter, Charlie and other Sabina ministers jointly held noon services at various churches, which anyone could attend, even those of us in high school. Every week, Charlie was giving us a wider view of the world. Methodist Youth Fellowship raised money to fund a trip of several days to New York City, where we toured all the traditional tourist sites, as well as the great churches, including the Cathedral of St. John the Divine and St. Patrick's Cathedral. 2 years later, we toured the sites of Washington, D.C., including the National Cathedral, which I will never forget. With Charlie's support, I became treasurer of the Wilmington District MYF and then president. He and I attended the Regional Conference of Methodist Youth at Southern Illinois University, and the next year the National MYF Conference at Purdue University. Each evening's convocation was so special and the audience so huge that I went at least an hour early to get a great seat, usually front row center. The music was spiritual, but not traditional. It was jazz, played by the Dave Brubeck Quartet, I think, and so different from what anyone in 1960 might have expected. I remember two of the speakers, one of the most esteemed philosophers and theologians of the 20th century, Paul Tillich, and a very homely woman with a very strange voice, former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. As she spoke to us, I realized she was the most beautiful person I'd ever met or ever would meet. What an inspiration. Charlie and Janice and MYF gave me and so many others a wider, deeper worldview. My dear mother had hopes that I would become a minister, but I became a high school English teacher. In my classroom, on my desk, was a wrought iron trivet-like version of the Golden Rule, and on the door was a poster of Paul's words from 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient, love is kind. In the last years of my career, the students fondly referred to me as Father King, or Padre, or just the Rev. What an honor for me, but also what a testimonial to the powerful influence of Sabina Methodist Church on so many of us. God bless. Thank you, John. So, if any of you would like to share a memory or a story, I would like to open it up. Chuck, you want to start us off?
Sure. Little side note, this sanctuary is built out of Derbyshire bricks. That's part of my family. Also, in 1968, we pulled the bell out of the backyard and redid it. My great-great-aunt Rose Derbyshire and her husband were the ones who donated that bell to the church. She had her housekeeper come. She was 97 or 8 years old at that time. Drove her up here every day and watched us put that bell back together. It has a date on it. It's one of the Hillsborough bells. It has a date on it stamped on the inside of March of 1833. One of the oldest bells made by the Hillsborough Bell Company. Yeah, that's pretty much history. I have been the keeper of the bell for the last 50 years. Go out and put a coat of paint on it once in a while, and hopefully one of these days I'll find an apprentice, because I'm getting a little old. But that's part of my history of this church. My family. I also have a 50-year member Bible belonged to my grandpa Marsh from this church, and once in a while I get in the Lost and Found medical school and find this old tattered Bible. It's about 75 years old. Presented to the Port William School by the Religious Educational Department of the Dover, WTC. As you can see, it's well worn. It's some 75 years old. But yeah, I rescued it out of the junk pile. And I also have my grandmother's music book from high school. This thing is 100 years old. And part of my stuff, so part of my family.
Good, thank you, Chuck.
Carl. Yeah, just a little information. This light in the back parlor here, with the frame around it, used to be right up here, and it was found in the attic years ago by Reverend Wayne Alberson. And Arnold Apple had to take a jigsaw and cut it in two to get it down through the doors. And then myself and Wayne and a few of the other kids spent many, many long hours cleaning that window. And my boss at that time, Ed Keene, got wind of it and heard about it. And he said, when you get it done, call me. And I called him and said, it's done. And he picked it up, had a truck pick it up and take it to an old gentleman in Hillsborough that built the frame around it. Ed didn't want that known, but I think it's time to be known. And that's where it was from. It was found in the attic.
Okay, great. Suzanne?
I thought you might be interested in the history of your church. We have in the history of my church, which was Sabina Friends Meeting, which is now closed. and most of you know that who know me because I'm visiting around, and I enjoyed it very much. But in our records it has that when we started, you were already here, and I think it was, I should look it up, 1880s, and you very graciously allowed us to have church here at your church. And finally, I guess until our church was completed, our records show that we took turns using our minister. 1 week was our minister, 1 week was your minister, and until we got back in our others. So that was very gracious of you to do that, and I'll thank you for it right now.
Well, I'll say you're welcome.
So I thought you might like that a little bit. Also, I'd like to say something about my mother, Winnie Peel, who went here for years. She came from a Methodist family. Her grandfather and great-grandfather were both Methodist ministers. Her great-grandfather started the Methodist Church out of Memphis and also at Highland, where he's buried. And so she was always Methodist. But when she married my father, he had been Quaker for generations, so she became a Quaker. After his death in 1949, a few years later, she came back to this meeting, or this church. Quakers always say meeting. Back to this church, and was here until she wasn't able to any longer. I'd say in the 1980s she wasn't able to, but something she really enjoyed, and maybe some of you will remember this, was her Christmas bazaars. And she made so much stuff for it, really nice things. And she enjoyed this so much. As soon as one bazaar was over, she started in right away and worked on stuff all year long, and really enjoyed it.
I haven't really been here that long and all, but my greatest memory was the first time Taylor sang here. Those of you that know her, you know she's bright, energetic, full of energy, and she's 7 years old. Had a song she learned at another vacation Bible school she wanted to sing. She practiced and practiced and practiced at home so much. She had it down pat and everything. And thanks to Kay and Joni for helping with putting the words up on the wall and everything she had no idea that we had it set up where everybody could sing with her. And she asked for everybody to join in. Absolutely terrified. She started singing and everybody joined in, singing with her and doing the hand motions and everything, and it really meant a lot, and it was just like, wow.